All right, thank you.
Oh my God.
Your God.
Is running out? Yeah. Hi, everybody. This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown. I tell you, this business is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the
Okay.
Thank you, baby.
All right.
All right. All right. James Brown himself. Hey, before we get to the show, I want to play something for you. This is from Veritas, and the children are protesting because they have these radical left-wing teachers with Antifa flags in the rooms and teaching, trying to indoctrinate them into communism. And
hey, this is right here in our state of Colorado. This is Project Veritas, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, let me get this up. Let me get this up here.
You just got to hear this stuff for yourself, folks. This is a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Inbox. Now, what did I, just when I, where is that? Oh, yeah, okay. Here we go.
Try it one more time, ladies and gentlemen.
Breaking news.
Here we go.
Animas Unified School District announces they will fire teacher Gabriel Geip. This in from the Nanamas community letter, just hot off the press. As of today, this teacher was placed on paid leave because of his actions and choices in the classroom. Nanamas United will be taking the legally required next steps to place the teacher on unpaid leave and fire the teacher. From the evidence gathered so far, the teacher violated the district's political action guidelines, which were aligned with board policy and California educational code. This comes on the heels of us catching Geip on tape saying he has 180 days to revolutionize the students. He wants to scare the blank out of students.
I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries.
How do you do that? How do you
Scare the fuck out of them.
And an insider within the school taking pictures of the Antifa flag hanging on his classroom wall, to which Geip said he wanted his students to feel uncomfortable about.
This is meant to make classes feel uncomfortable, so if you feel uncomfortable, I don't really know what to tell you.
The letter continues this morning. The walls of Geip's classroom were cleared of all posters and signage. In fact, we've been able to corroborate this. In fact, someone inside the school has just sent us video of Gabriel Geip's classroom. All signs have been taken off the walls. The classroom is now empty. They have removed all political posters from the wall, and outside the door, it previously said the teacher's name. It no longer says Gabriel Geip's name outside C207. A lot of people say nothing ever happens to these people. That's a lot of the comments we see. Nothing ever. Well, something just did happen in the state of California, no less, where it's very difficult for a teacher to be fired, and effectively, that's what this unified school district is announcing they're going to do. None of this would have been possible without Project Veritas, undercover journalists working alongside a tipster whistleblower on the inside of the classroom who reached out to us. It is currently 7 o'clock on the East Coast. We are very close to a school board meeting. You can stream that meeting here. We encourage you to do so. Gabriel Geip actually said in this video there are other people who agreed with him. We want to know who those people are, and we want to know why the student voiced concerns and no one cared until we showed up. Stay tuned, and as always, be brave.
There you go. There you
This
go.
is incredible. I mean, this is California. I'm sorry, I misspoke
Yeah.
when I said it was right here in Colorado.
Well, the next part we're going to be talking about is
check
going to be in
this out.
California.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The next part we're going to be talking about is in Colorado, but this part was in California. So we got two things we're going to talk about: what happened in California and what happened here in Colorado.
Well, and they're interrelated, really, honestly. I got to tell you that because, hang on, I got to get up. Yeah, sorry, dog. Hang on, I'm going to get rid of this music here so that we don't get flagged for copyright.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, the bottom line here is this. It's pretty much the same thing, whether it be critical race theory or whether it be mask mandates. We're being divided into classes. We either have or we have not. And that's really all it boils down to is we either have the approval of the almighty establishment, the administration that currently holds sway over our country.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, this is serious because today I was told that I was because they had the mask mandate at the Denver Theater. People were smiling at me, saying, "Oh, what a silly black man saying hi Hitler." And I bet because I was saying hi Hitler, because because
of the mask mandates.
Yeah, right. And I bet the Jewish people were just smiling and saying, "Oh, they're not going to do nothing to us," until they walked them into the gas chambers. I bet a lot of them were just smiling at those silly Jews. Ha 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 ha. So. Ladies and gentlemen, this can become more serious the more you let these left-wing radicals enforce their Concordian rules on the masses, forcing us to do things because they can. And in Australia, they took away the guns of the people. And now you see how radical the cops are even beating up some people because they say, "We want you to stay inside. You're going to only go outside 1 hour to work out. And when you walk your dog, you cannot talk to anybody because the police, we have the guns and you don't." Right?
That's very interesting. That's a very interesting point of view. And that's very true. I've got to tell you.
So they can keep smiling at me because they say, "Oh, how silly," but they'll never take away the Americans' guns like they took away Venezuela's their guns, and then the military took over. And as they're doing in Australia, as they took away their guns, and now the police is a police state and is what the government says, or you'll be beat down. So they can smile and laugh all they want. But
Well, I got to tell you, so it sounds like you got yourself on a little list somewhere yourself. Earlier today, originally right before the show here, well, it was actually about 10:30 this morning. I was scrolling through Facebook like I often do, and a friend of mine had commented on Joe Biden's one of his most recent posts, and it was a innocent post that our fearless leader, our most esteemed and highly popular president. I get awful tired of saying that because, gosh, I can't get tired of saying how popular he is and how highly respected he is. So anyway, this wonderful guy gets some flack for his withdrawal action and everything else. Now, listen, here's what I did. I went ahead and I posted a letter. Now, he's never going to see it, and it'll probably get wiped from Facebook if it's not already been wiped. I don't even know. I haven't checked yet. But the thread of the letter was this: and I don't have the actual letter here so I could read it because I didn't think to save it. I was just angry, and I posted a thing that probably I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But listen to that. I says, now listen, sir, we thank you for your job. Now it's got to be very hard. And I'm paraphrasing here. And, I just want you to know that I'm praying for you. Specifically, Alan Colvin, I'm praying for you. Praying for your cabinet. I'm praying for your administration. I want the best possible outcome. And, that negative stuff that's happened, hey, what, do we lose 13 people? That's kind of weird in my mind. And, part of the tinfoil hat stuff, but that stuff aside, you've got a lot of stuff on your plate, Mr. President. So can I please ask how many people got out that were Americans? And then, by the way, the folks, we're supposed to be a kind and generous nation. So the folks that you got out that were Afghani refugees and things like that. So how many were there versus the amount of Americans you got out? Now, I kind of have got a roundabout figure of 5% so far that were Americans and 95% that were Afghani refugees that have come. And so what we've got going on is I just went ahead and I put that out there. I said, now look, Mr. President, I just want those numbers if I could. And by the way, Mr. President, listen, I run a website called accountabilityrevolution.com. Now, when you go ahead and you type that on into Facebook, you type on in http://www.accountabilityrevolution, all one word. Make sure not to let that thing put a space in there. Put accountabilityrevolution.com in a post on Facebook. What Facebook did was they went ahead and they kindly put a label on my website. So I addressed that. I said, now listen, you go ahead on, you go over to that website and you take a look, and because we're all about the United States Constitution. It doesn't have anything to do with anti-government, Tea Party, blah, blah, blah. That label just silly. You go ahead on and go over there, because I, Alan Colvin, a member of the blind community, will be your huckleberry. I'll support you. Or no, I said I'll support the nation. I have to be very careful about this. I never said that I would support that regime, but I will support the nation. And that I've thrown myself in the ring. Yeah. I'm on a list somewhere. I know it.
Yeah. Also, I want to let you know that they did some visuals that I saw. People, they hung this guy on the helicopter and they were flying around, showing the guy hanging out. And I bet they were just smiling too. Oh, they're not going to do nothing to these people because they're just smiling. How silly. They're worried about nothing, just smiling and all that good stuff. And as they're flying around with this person hanging from the helicopters, then in the newsroom, they showed these people pointing the machine gun at this reporter as if they were saying, don't say anything that we don't like or we'll kill you live here on TV. And I bet they were just smiling because that silly reporter, why should he be worried about being machine gunned with U.S. latest weapons? And so, yeah, they can continue to smile because how silly people are to think that just wear a mask, just do this, just do that, just take some injection, just do this. And they keep moving the goalposts. You just do this. And that's what the students were mad about. They said, okay, most of the students that left the high school, they had been vaccinated. They said, okay, we got vaccinated, then okay, then we can go back to normal. Then they move the goalposts again. No, you can't be normal. You got to have vaccination. You got to have the mask. You got to have 2 masks. You got to have 3 masks. And Dr. Fauci just keeps on moving the goalposts and moving the goalposts. And that is what these young people got mad about. But just keep smiling at them. And these young people, they just shut up and put on their masks, and that's it. So that is, I'm just proud of these young people that instead of just sitting around and letting the adults just smile at them and pat them on the head, they're saying, let's get up and do something about this and stop moving the goalposts. And when is enough enough?
That's why we have to get back to the United States Constitution and the founding of this country and realize that, yes, there might have been some not so fine, shining portions of our history, but I will tell you, if we do not learn about those portions of history and embrace them and say, yes, that stuff happened, let's learn from it.
Yeah.
I tell you, we're going to repeat those same mistakes over and over and over and over again until we get them.
And that's why my Jewish brothers, when they say never again, they say we want this never again to happen again. I'm right there with them, because that Holocaust that happened to them should never happen again.
Not for anybody. Not for anyone.
Nope.
Doesn't matter what kind of class of person, because Jew or Gentile, blind or sighted, black or white, yellow or blue or green or whatever, polka dotted, striped, I don't even care. That does not happen. Do whatever you guys want as the deep state. Do whatever you want. That's fine. I mean, we'll combat it. We'll try to adapt as best we can. We're just frogs in a pot of boiling water anyway. But don't do that. That's not something that's even doable. Now, here's something that's important. If I were to pull up Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, it talks about this very time frame that we're living in right now. We're living in a time frame where there is a one that letteth, that is letting all this stuff happen. You know what I'm saying? And once he's taken out of the way, and that man of lawlessness is revealed as he's being revealed as we speak right now, that one that letteth, or whatever, the one that allows that stuff to happen, once that person, that thing is taken out of the way, oh boy, it's going to be an intense thing. I encourage you to take a look at the Holy Bible if you've never done so, because, you know, in my tiny little mind, I do believe that God is the only way out of this stuff, and Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, and it's the only way to achieve that. And 30% of Christianity nowadays is kind of unsure about that. Well, let me tell you, without that one true God, so to speak, in Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who came and died for our sins, man, we are done. Done. Johnny, we're done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So it's like, you know, I know people say, oh, is it just like doom and gloom? No, it isn't just doom and gloom. We have to stand up for our rights, just
That's
as,
right.
And we have to let people know that okay, we can agree to disagree, but all these rules and regulations, because the government cares so much about us, and they want to protect us and protect us from ourselves. Well, that didn't work too well when the KKK was going through the black villages, and they made it illegal for black people to have guns. So therefore, they could burn up the black people's houses, they could rape, they can kill, because the black people had no way of defending themselves. So when they say, we just want to take your guns, well, we saw what that portion, what that did when the KKK took the guns and did what they did. So it didn't work out that well. That's one of the reasons why the NRA came about here in the United States of America. And so, you know, we say, okay, why does the government just do, why don't you guys, you know, just, you know, work on taking out the trash, making the, you know, doing your international thing, and stop trying to control and protect us. And it didn't work out too well when they, in 1965, when President Johnson said, let's take care of these women that are having babies, but only thing you can have babies and the government will take care of you, but just as long as you don't have the man in the house. And so that turned around where it was 70% husband and wife in the households of Black husbands and wives in the household. Now it's 70% women-led houses, and these children are running amok because you cannot raise a family with just one parent. It happens in rare cases where a father dies or another parent dies, but that is not the norm.
Right. And that's an interesting statistic that you bring up, that it used to be 70% of the households had a
mother and father
woman, and everything was good. And the reason for that being, it was 70% the one way is part of that 30%. Certainly you had guys run out and do whatever, but the other half of that 30%, or at least a portion thereof, was generally that the guy would move on or whatever and leave the lady with the kids, and the lady would never ever even think of remarrying, because you see, back in the day, back in the day, bonds were forever. Back in the day, there was a thing called our word, and when we gave it, it meant something, and it just, wow, I don't know.
Or the day when the dad says, "Okay, I see you want to give it to my daughter," and he had the shotgun, right? And he says, "Okay, what are your intentions with my daughter?" Right. And then the kid had to say, haba. I plan on doing the right thing, sir.
I got to tell you,
he says, "You better."
I had a baseball bat. It was a Louisville Slugger, and on one side I'd carved love, and on the other side I carved respect. And I was going to, this is long before I had kids, and I was going to show it to my oldest daughters. You know, if I had daughters, I didn't know that I'd have kids, much less even have two girls. But anyway, I was going to show it to the man, you know, when he showed up and he's like, "I want to marry your daughter. I love and respect."
Yeah.
And like,
or the boy, because I had this one boy say, "I love your daughter." And I'm thinking, like, are you an idiot? How's that going to pay the bills?
Right. Right. And the respect, that's why the respect has to go in there, because you can love somebody all you want. If you don't respect them, you're not going to try to work and do your thing as best you possibly can, because it's easier for a human being to go ahead and just slough it off if they're single. If they get into a relationship where they're, you know, trying to do two people, but they still have that single mentality, it's going to always get them into trouble, because they're doing what's best for them as opposed to what's best for the two people in the unit. And when you dump kids on top of it, man, it gets harder.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was a great advantage taken of the high pregnancy rate within the youth of the 1970s, all the way across the board. Right. And in the 1980s, when the wholesome shows back in the day, you had your, well, I would say wholesome, but, you know, they at least taught some values. You had your Jeffersons, your Huxtables, and they got traded for anything that were other than. So rather than moral values, you had your rappers, and you had your baseball and your football stars, and you had your wrestling stars. You had all these crazy folks that this is the way that you really need to live, rather than putting your roots down and doing some good morals, you know? Now, when I was a kid, people used to preach this stuff to me. I used to laugh at them. Ha, 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 ha. I mean, it's really not that bad. I mean, I agree, but ha, ha, ha. It's not going to ever. This foundation will never be shaken. Well, I tell you what, it's shaken.
Yeah.
It's shaken. Right before I got onto this show tonight, here's an example. I went outside to go have a cigarette.
Right.
And the door was propped open with a rock. And the manager comes rolling up on her little golf cart. She says, "Hey, Alan, how you doing? It's blah, blah, blah from the manager's office." I said, "Hey, how's it going?" She says, "Hey, I saw you put that rock in that door. Why'd you do that?" I says, "Oh, no, you don't understand. I took it out of there. she's like, "Oh, we got cameras. Saw you take that rock out of the." Just said, "Well, just go ahead and replay the tape." And no, you'll see that I was taking it out. I just couldn't find it right away because, I'm a blind guy. I mean, I don't want to use that as blind card, but and then I ended up getting heated because no, she was telling me she saw it, she knew, and I tell you, I am not that guy. My God, when our word doesn't matter anymore to somebody and they can just either A, because they don't like you, make up something, go, wow, I saw you do it. And B, they have a file that they can put put your name
like that. We got the camera evidence, but then when you look at the camera evidence, the evidence shows otherwise. Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you what, Johnny, from now on, I'm going out cameraed up and live on Facebook if I have to, because I'm not putting up with this stuff anymore. If this surveillance society can surveil me and tell me that I'm putting a rock in their door in their apartment complex,
yeah, it's so weird. I mean, I don't know if you remember like Arsenio Hall, and he used to jokingly they would be taking him away, and he said, and we said, wait a minute, let me get my camcorder. And then he used to tell, he had this monologue. He says, if you see my ass being beat up, don't pick up the camera. Help me.
Help me. Exactly. I remember that, dude. I remember that really well. Back in the day, I thought it was funny. It ain't so funny now.
Yeah. It's like that's
stuff
really
it ain't so funny, and the water's starting to get hot for us frogs. And well, we're selfish, and we do like our comfort, and we do love our American way of life. And we just get threatened, So, Mr. President, if you ever do listen to this here show, and anybody connected, hit us up at
Innervisionfm.com.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I heard people on talk show saying that the blood of those 13 men and women are in Joe Biden's hands, and the blood of those 13 people are on those people that voted this bandito Biden into office. And I'm pretty much saying, yes, I guess if you voted in, and I got to tell you this other thing. Okay, remember that we had a nice guy, but he was just ineffective when they voted Jimmy Carter in. That after they got rid of him, that brought in 12 years of Republican rule. Reagan, Bush,
Reagan, the Bush, senior Bush Jr. Oh yeah.
So I wonder if that's going to do the same thing, but even on steroids this time around, because this guy, I mean, I thought Carter was bad, but nice guy, but just ineffective leader of this country. So I just wonder, will it be deja vu, and then will that lead to 12 years of Republican rule, and will they be able to? And Mitch McConnell, he's getting old. It's going to be somebody else in there. Rosie O'Donnell. No, what's her name? Nancy Pelosi. I call her Rosie O'Donnell. She's not going to be around that much longer. Chuck Schumer, he may have a few more years, but
he's got left.
Yeah. So a lot of these people are going to be moved out, and Lindsey Graham, Republican, who flips back and forth and all that. Some of these people are going to be voted out, and I hope the people start going. If we can do it, if the machines are not so jacked up where we can't do it, because I saw Martin Luther King's younger kids, which are Democrats, which is really weird, and what was his name, Al Sharpton. They were marching on Washington this past weekend, saying that they want Biden to pass the federal voting act. Puppets.
Oh, wait a minute.
Did you see that?
King's kids,
grandkids, and I think one of his I hope it wasn't one of his but one of his, well, I know it's one of his granddaughters, saying this generation, we have to make sure that they put in this federal voting act which is just all saying
Well,
no
here-
IDs.
Here's the interesting thing. I understand where they're coming from, and I understand where the left would look at this and see them as restrictions, because by golly, the left-wing media are calling them restrictions. And so therefore, people don't read the article. They don't read
Right.
the fact that there's voter ID. They don't read the fact that there is stuff in there that says it's common sense that everybody wants anyway.
Yeah. And you federalize it and take it from the states.
Yeah.
The game's over.
Game's over. Game's done.
Yeah.
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 Just
So
go ahead and federalize it. We'll just go ahead and pretend like we got a voter system then, because
yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it's a ride, a wild ride, but we have to wake up and pay attention and call your congressmen and put the heat on these people, these senators and congressmen. Put the heat on them and let them know that you are awake.
And what else you can also do is make sure to get involved any way you can, whether that be at the local level on the school boards, the city councils. You got to be a park ranger if you got it, man. It doesn't matter. And be a dog catcher. I mean, it doesn't matter. Get involved. And the bottom line is, if more people get involved at the local level, then more people will get involved at the state level. Then when people get involved at the state level, you'll have assemblymen and women, assembly people, assembly individuals, and they'll represent different districts within the state. And then, you'll have state representation, and then eventually you'll have federal representation. Get involved, folks. It's important. Yeah. There's nothing more important. Look, I'm a blind guy, dude. I'm going deaf, and I got this www.accountabilityrevolution, all one word, .com. And when you put that on Facebook, it's crazy. They labeled it for me. It's wrong. I'm not anti-government. I'm not anti-tyranny, but I am. I am anti-tyranny, but I'm not anti-government, and I'm not anti-order. We have to have law and order. We have to have we have to have a code that we live by. Right. And what we've done by our current leadership, abandoning our troops as they have, whether there were sighted folks out there, whether there were some blind folks in there. I mean, I don't know. Blind Afghanis that have helped us, blind or visually impaired folks that have. I addressed that in that little letter that I penned to Joe Biden on his
30 seconds. Hey, tomorrow I'm going to go to the dentist, so I may try to plug in a replay during this time slot. But we'll probably see you next week, God willing. So
God willing.
So see you guys next time here on
Yep,